Shalom, shalom, shalom. You already know what's going on. Your brother D the Messenger, man. Tap in if you want to win. I know it ain't your fault you ain't been taught. So in all fairness, I'm spreading awareness. We got bigger fish to fry, you and I. The Most High turning whole houses into ashtrays in these last days. And we want to stay tapped in, right? So stay prayed up while you laid up. It's that simple. Flee from sin and the blessings will begin. Uh, I truly believe that, man. And the Most High never fail you, right? That's all I can tell you is the Most High never fail you. But let's get into this lesson, man. Baruch the scribe. Baruch name just kept coming up in these lessons, and so I told y'all I was gonna bring something out on Baruch just to introduce him to you, bring you closer into Baruch the scribe, and just highlight some of the other scribes in the scriptures and how important they are, right? But Baruch was a star, right? He was a prophet and a scribe. You see that? So let's get into it. Baruch the scribe by D the Messenger, yours truly. This is Jeremiah 36:26. But the king commanded Jeremiah, the son of Hamelech, and Seraiah, the son of Azriel, and Shelemiah, the son of Abdiel, to take Baruch the scribe and Jeremiah the prophet. But the Lord hid them. See that? The Lord hid them. You're going to see these names paired together often. Baruch the scribe and Jeremiah the prophet, because they were road dogs. They was tight like that. And a lot of what we know from Jeremiah came from the hand of Baruch. Just letting y'all know. Let's move on to verse 27. It's Jeremiah 36:27. Then the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, after that the king had burnt the roll and the words which Baruch wrote at the mouth of Jeremiah. You see that? So this is exactly what I was just saying. Baruch wrote down what Jeremiah said. Jeremiah would hear from the Lord, and Baruch would write it down, right? And so that was kind of the relationship, in a sense. Not only, obviously, there was brothers, they shared what brothers would normally share, but they had a job, they had a role. And Jeremiah's role at that moment in time was to hear from the Lord. Now, prophethood will come to Baruch as well later on down the line. But as of this moment in time, that's what his job was, to write down what Jeremiah said. I'm going to read that verse again. Jeremiah 36:27. Then the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, after that the king had burnt the roll and the words which Baruch wrote at the mouth of Jeremiah, saying, right? And then it will go into, what Baruch should write down. Let's move on to first Esdras, chapter 8, verse 3. Esdras was also known as the prophet Ezra, right? But you get Esdras because of the Greek. When we started writing and reading in Greek, it changed a lot of the names. So Esdras is Ezra, just so we clear. It's first Esdras chapter 8, verse 3. This Esdras went up from Babylon as a scribe. You see that? A scribe, being very ready in the law of Moses that was given by the God of Israel. You see that? So Esdras was a scribe. Esdras or Ezra was a scribe, and he was very ready in the law of Moses that was given by God of Israel. You see, because the scribes can read and they can write. And in most cases, our culture, you're dealing with writings coming from the times of Enoch, right? Before the flood, they was writing things down. That's why a lot of the stuff that they want to attribute to other cultures or aliens, in my opinion, it came from the times of Enoch prior to the flood. It was things that were written down um, since the time of Adam, right? Um, but we know for sure Enoch because Enoch was a scribe, and I think we'll get into that a little bit later. But I'm gonna read it again. First Esdras 8:3. This Esdras went up from Babylon as a scribe, being very ready in the law of Moses that was given by the God of Israel. So you see, the scribes, they know the law, they know the Torah, they know our history because they help preserve our history. Having a oral tradition would mean it wouldn't mean as much if we couldn't write it down, right? So the oral tradition was always written down by our scribes. And if you didn't have scribes, it was your job to try to develop one. And they emerged after every captivity, I believe, right? It's my theory. Scribes emerge after every captivity because we have an element of our people that would, get educated and um, they would maintain a certain standard. This is Second Maccabees 6:18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes. You see that? Eleazar was a principal scribe, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. Now we're gonna get into that story on a later lesson, but we highlighting Eleazar being one of the principal scribes. You see that? So it's different levels to it, but scribes are something that was well known in our culture. Is what I'm trying to convey. Right? It's Enoch 92:1. It says written by Enoch the scribe. You see that? Enoch was also a scribe. So scribes are not something that we could just pinpoint to one um, to one group of people during one time, right? Because these are three different times. Baruch, Eleazar, Esdras, and Enoch all lived at different times, and they were all scribes. I'm gonna finish out their scriptures. Enoch 92:1, written by Enoch the scribe. All this doctrine of wisdom, praiseworthy to all men, and a judge of all the earth, to all my children who dwell on the earth, and to the future generations who will practice rectitude, which is righteousness, and peace. All praise to the Most High. Shout out the book of Enoch. It's prophecies of the Messiah in the book of Enoch, with all kind of wisdom and all kind of actual factual information on a lot of high level upper room type discussions, right? But if you're still on the milk, don't deal with Enoch. But once you graduate and you're ready for something heavy, open up Enoch. We talking about the first book of Enoch, right? We ain't dealing with all the other ones. The one that was found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. You see that? The one that you can find in the Ethiopian Bible. But we sticking with one, right? That's the one we can verify um, the way that we do. Two witnesses or more establish it. So that's how we moving with Enoch. Let's move on to Sirach 10:5. In the hand of God is the prosperity of man, and upon the person of the scribe, you see that, shall he lay his honor. So the scribes are honored by God. You see that? The scribes are honored by God. So we got to put some respect on the name of everyone who I name, because Sirach 10:5, I'm going to read it again. In the hand of God is the prosperity of man, and upon the person of the scribe shall he lay his honor. And it's like that even now in our culture. I mean, authors are among our greatest men, right? And their books will live forever. We pass them on to our children and their children. And this is a culture that came from a culture that we established. You see that? Let's just let that be known. And that's why we're reading this, right? In the hand of God is the prosperity of man, and upon the scribe shall he lay his honor. All praises. Let's keep going. Let's go back to the book of Jeremiah. Now we have an understanding about what a scribe is, what they mean, and let's go to the blue letter real quick. What is that? We're gonna go to the blue letter really quick. Let's go to Jeremiah 36:26. I want to look at that word scribe so y'all can see the definition. And then we'll continue on with the message. 36:26. Bring up the Strong's numbers. So let's look at 36:26. The scribe, which is H5608. Safar.
Strong's H5608. Safer.
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 Okay, Safer. Let's look at it. To count, recount, relate. To count, to number, to take account of. Okay. To rehearse, to talk, to recount exactly or accurately. See that? Safar, properly to score with a mark as a tally or record, by implication to inscribe, and also to enumerate, intensively to recount. So we know it's writing stuff down, right? Let's go to Google, I guess. What is a scribe? A person who copied out documents, especially one employed to do this before printing was invented. Okay, an ancient Jewish record keeper, or later a professional theologian. And then we see to write. So it should be common sense, but common sense ain't common, right? So that's why I went to that extreme to show y'all. So we was on slide 8. Let's get back to where we were, Jeremiah 32, verses 11 and 12. So I took the evidence of the purchase, both that which was sealed according to the law and custom, and that which was open. And I gave the evidence of the purchase unto Baruch, the son of Neriah. Now this is important because there's 2 Baruchs in the scripture. You read about the other one in Nehemiah. They sealed the document, which was like our new covenant, right? Our new our new commitment to the Lord and what we all agreed we would do. We took an oath and everything, right? It's a great read. If you ain't read Nehemiah, read Nehemiah. You'll see the other Baruch mentioned in the book of Nehemiah. But he's not the son of Neriah, even though all of these names sound the same. It's because we dealing with niggas, right? For lack of a better term. And we can go to Acts 13 and 1 and we can see that. We can go to Zephaniah, we can see that. Cushi or it's just dealing with blacks, right? But a lot of time our lingo comes through in the scriptures the way it was written back then. And it just was hard for us to understand, right? But you got to pray, ask for the Holy Spirit before you read these scriptures, so you get an understanding. But here in this verse, Jeremiah bought some land while he was locked up. Basically, Jeremiah is locked up at this time, and Baruch went to seal the documents of the purchase of the land that Jeremiah bought while he was locked up. Because as a scribe, that was a part of his job. It wasn't just dealing with the scriptures. It was dealing with whatever the prophet needed or the king needed. Like, we had a structure at that time. Let's keep going. This is Jeremiah 36:4. Then Jeremiah called Baruch the son of Neriah, and Baruch wrote from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of the Lord, which he had spoken unto him, and upon a roll of a book. You see that? He's doing his job. And I got it. I have a whole another class called We Write Books. We Wrote Books. Excuse me. Because a lot of times people will be asking, who wrote the Bible? Like man wrote the Bible. We wrote the Bible, right? And we can prove that through scriptures. But let's keep going. See what Baruch did? I'm going to read this again. Jeremiah 36:4. Then Jeremiah called Baruch the son of Neriah, and Baruch wrote from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of the Lord, which he had spoken unto him upon a roll of a book. Verse 5. And Jeremiah commanded Baruch, saying, I am shut up. I cannot go into the house of the Lord. Because remember, Jeremiah was in jail. Jeremiah was in jail at this time. Let's go on to verse 6. Jeremiah 36:6. Therefore go thou and read in the roll which thou hast written from my mouth the words of the Lord in the ears of the people in the Lord's house upon the fasting day. And also thou shalt read them in the ears of all Judah that come out of their cities. You see that? So Baruch not only had the job of writing down the Lord's words from the mouth of Jeremiah, but he had to go read it to the people. You see that? This is verse 7. Jeremiah 36:7. It may be they will represent their supplication before the Lord. Excuse me. It may be that they will present their supplication before the Lord, and will return everyone from his evil way. For great is the anger and the fury that the Lord hath pronounced against his people. Verse 8. And Baruch the son of Neriah did according to all that Jeremiah the prophet commanded him, reading in the book the words of the Lord in the Lord's house. We'll read it again. And Baruch the son of Neriah did according to all that Jeremiah the prophet commanded him, reading in the book of the words of the Lord, reading in the book the words of the Lord in the Lord's house. So that's important, man. Baruch did what Jeremiah asked, and he read the book of the Lord in the Lord's house. This makes Baruch a legend, in my opinion, right? And this is why reading the book of Baruch, studying the book of Baruch should become a part of all of our studies, right? Because we can see that he had a significant role in the life of Jeremiah, and he played a significant role when it comes to us, right? To what we have today, and to what was able to happen through him, right? It's Jeremiah 36:15. And they said unto him, sit down now and read it in our ears. So Baruch read it in their ears. Verse 16 and 17. Jeremiah 36:16 and 17. Now it came to pass, when they had heard all the words, they were afraid, both one and other, and said unto Baruch, we will surely tell the king all these words. And they asked Baruch, saying, tell us now, how didst thou write all these words at his mouth? Verse 18 and 19. Then Baruch answered them, he pronounced all these words unto me with his mouth, and I wrote them with ink in the book. You see that? Then said the princes unto Baruch, go, hide thee, thou and Jeremiah, and let no man know where ye be. Because they knew when word get back to the king gonna kill these niggas, man. They already burnt one scroll, one book, because they wasn't trying to deal with the Lord, right? But after this, the brothers knew, okay, y'all gotta hide. Let's go Jeremiah 36 and 32. Then took Jeremiah another roll and gave it to Baruch the scribe, the son of Neriah, who wrote therein from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of the book which Jehoiakim king of Judah had burned in the fire. And there were added besides unto them many like words. So it's more books, right? It's more books. And let's get into those other books, because Baruch has two books. And we don't know if this Jeremiah 2 and 3 or if it's strictly from the mouth of Baruch. We got to read it to find out, right? This is 2 Baruch 77 and 4. Because your brethren transgressed the commandments of El Elyon, which is the Most High in Hebrew, he brought vengeance upon you and upon them, and he spared not the former, and the latter also he gave unto captivity. Now that happened to us. So this is also a prophecy that was fulfilled, right? It's a prophecy we didn't even know about that was fulfilled. Let's jump to 77:19, 2 Baruch. And I wrote two letters. One I sent by means of an eagle to the 9.5 tribes, and the other I sent by means of 3 men to those who were in Babylon. So this is during the Babylon captivity. And Baruch sent letters to the northern tribes, and he sent letters to those in Babylon. And this is the origin of where you see like an eagle delivering messages. You see birds delivering messages. We seen that in certain movies and different folklores, but now we know where it came from. This is 2 Baruch 79 and 2. We have sinned against him who made us, and we have not kept the commandments which he commanded us. Yet he has not chastised us as we deserve. All praise to the Most High. This is 2 Baruch 79 and 2. Y'all gotta read it. Alright, let's go to 1 Baruch, which a lot of us have. This is 1 Baruch 3 and 7. After this cause thou hast put thy fear in our hearts, to the intent that we shall call upon thy name, and praise thee in our captivity. For we have called to mind all the iniquity of our forefathers that sinned before thee. Verse 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God. And this is this verse is legendary in the Hebrew Israelite community, right? And it's straight facts coming out of Baruch. Let's go back to 2 Baruch 78 and 6. I therefore, if ye consider that ye have done now, I'm gonna start back over. I therefore, if ye consider that ye have now suffered those things for your good, that ye may not finally be condemned and tormented, then ye will receive eternal hope. If above all ye destroyed from your heart vain error. I'm going to read that part again. If above all ye destroy from your heart vain error, on account of which ye departed hence. Those who have ears, let them hear, right? And that's like what the Messiah is about. And if you read 2 Baruch, it's a prophecy about the Messiah in 2 Baruch. But what it's saying is that the Most High is giving us time for us not to be condemned and tormented forever, right? In the hellfire. He's giving us time to repent. Basically, this is what this saying. Just summing it up. All right, this is the last slide. Let's go to Baruch 4:1, and this is what basically sparked this whole lesson, right? I was reading this, and it hit so hard. I was like, man, I gotta show them who Baruch is, so they won't think just Baruch just some random nigga. Like, nah, Baruch is official, right? And there's so much more that I could have brought out. And we'll probably do a part 2 on it, as people get more familiar with Baruch. We'll bring out a lot more, and because it's a lot more to talk about from what was revealed from Baruch and second Baruch. So we'll get into that, but let's end it. This is Baruch 4:1. It says, "This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endures forever. All that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." And I can assure you that that ain't no lie. And in all fairness, I'm spreading awareness. I know it ain't your fault you ain't been taught. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm gone.